What's going on, everybody? Jackson Bragg here with my fellow PGA professional, Greg Williams. Greg, thanks for coming in today.
Good to see you, pal.
Today we're going to do a little comparison video between DG Mid 115 and our new AMT Silver line, new for 2025. AMT stands for Ascending Mass Technology, meaning in the 4-iron, we're going to be a little lighter. As we go down to the scoring clubs, the grams go up. That way we can launch it a little lower with a little bit more spin. And we're going to have Greg be our test dummy today to see the differences in the ball flight, the spin characteristics, and the apex between the two models. We're going to start with a pitching wedge with the DG Mid 115 S300, and we're going to get started here. And this club profile is about 115 grams from wedge all the way up to 4-iron. Super consistent, just like that ball flight.
Okay.
We'll take that. And this club profile is about 115 grams from wedge all the way up to 4-iron. Super consistent, just like that ball flight.
Okay.
We'll take that. Love it. Falling a little right. Spin should go up. Carries just a couple yards less, which is normal when we hit a cut shot. Really good swing. So with all those, we're carrying those just shy of 140, spinning around 8,000. Nice smooth pitching wedge, good apex.
Yep.
Now when we jump over to AMT Silver, biggest thing we're going to notice is it's actually a little heavier than the 115 mid.
Okay.
The whole point of that, if we can get it a little heavier, we're going to try and spin it a little bit more. Apex is going to be lower. That way we have more control on the dispersion. That's right. It's a calibration swing. It's a new club.
That's all good.
So this pitching wedge comes out to 119 grams, so it's 4 grams heavier than the one you were just hitting. And that's what we see all the best players in the world doing. They're hitting those scoring irons really low with a lot of spin, controlling trajectory. And as we get a little bit higher in the bag, up to the 6, 5, and 4, we want to hit as high as we can, because if we're playing firm greens and we're hitting a low golf ball, we're toast.
Yep.
Is there any feeling between the two clubs, the two profiles, that you can point out, or is it both pretty consistent?
Like you said, I can feel this slightly heavier.
Yeah.
I noticed it launching just a touch lower. I like how the spin is not dropping when the shaft's getting heavier. I like having a lot of spin in my wedges. Again, like you said, these are scoring clubs. I want to be able to land on the green, have it bounce once, and spin back to my my initial landing spot. That's the easiest way to keep it pin high. Overall, I'd say the feeling is just a touch heavier, maybe a little stouter than the DG Mid.
Cool. They're both a mid-launch, mid-spin profile, so they're going to fit a similar golfer, but for someone that needs help, and we'll see when we get up to the 4-iron, that needs something lighter to get peak apex, AMT is going to definitely fit that player.
Absolutely. Yeah, I definitely think being able to launch your wedges a little lower, keep it controlled in the wind, and then launch your long irons higher. I think that's super important.
Yeah.
Especially for the average player. You know, most average players that I work with, that I see, are struggling to get the ball up in the air with their long irons.
Yeah.
And a lot of times you'll see them balloon their wedges.
Yeah.
And so being able to control those spin rates and those launch windows is super important.
Yeah. Nice. So we got a bunch of consistent golf shots here. Greg's a pretty good player, so it makes sense. But like we said, we're spinning it a little more.
Yep.
We're launching it a little lower with AMT Silver.
Yep.
Both profiles feel pretty similar. They're a mid-launch, mid-spin, but with the added weight in that AMT Silver, that's why we're seeing the drop in weight, or the drop in ball flight, excuse me, and the added spin. I'm gonna head over to the computer here. We're gonna take a look at what we're working with.
Perfect.
Yeah. So if we take a look over here at the data set, we got 4 shots with each profile.
Yep.
DG Mid 115 carried 138, spun just under 8,000 RPMs. AMT Silver 137 carried just over 8,000 spin, right at 81, 84 on average.
Yep.
What we talked about before, AMT being a little heavier, lower launching, added spin, that just gives us a little bit more stopping power on the greens like we talked about. Dispersion was great with both. But one thing I can see here on the offline yards, because that spin was a little low with DG Mid, Our offline was 5.1 yards left. Now 5.1 yards left is 15 feet. I think we would take that from 138 yards, but it gets even better with AMT Silver. Right at 3.5 yards left, you're mishitting it to 10 feet. I mean, that's pretty darn good if you ask me. If we're looking,
putt's definitely easier to make than a 15-footer.
Exactly, and if we're looking at peak apex, 29 yards with the AMT Silver, 30 yards with the DG Mid.
Yep.
So it does launch a little bit lower. It's that added weight we were talking about. So all in all, what we talked about as we introduced the product, AMT Silver does what it should. It's a great profile, launches a little bit lower, but DG Mid's also fantastic. I mean, both of these numbers are great. I would love both of these profiles in your bag. Let's jump into the 7-iron. Let's see the differences as we get a little bit longer.
Perfect, sounds good.
So we had Greg hit a couple shots with both AMT Silver and DG Mid 115. Both profiles did their job exceptionally well. AMT Silver, which Greg has in his hand, peak height was a little bit lower, a little bit added spin, and due to the technology of the AMT, we saw a little tighter dispersion. What'd you feel between the two profiles?
Yeah, I could agree. I think the description on both of them is completely accurate. I noticed the spin rate coming up and the AMT launching just a little bit lower, which I personally like as a player. But that's why we have different shaft profiles, so that, you know, depending on the player, depending on what they need, we could fit them into, you know, whichever shaft is going to best fit them. Both of these shafts felt fantastic. Personally, I think touch heavier helped me bring the flight down a little bit, but I still liked being able to keep the spin rate up. That way I'm able to hold greens. I didn't mind the DG Mid at all as far as the launch characteristics go. I just think that the AMT, if you're looking for a little lower ball flight and still maintaining high spin, I think it's a great shaft profile.
So we just tested a bunch of pitching wedges in both profiles. Next thing we're going to do is step up to the 7.
Yep.
We're going to start in the DG Mid 115. We're going to take some swings with it. Then we're going to switch over to the AMT Silver, kind of do the same thing we did with the wedge. So
cool.
as you hit, let's get some feedback. Great golf swing there.
That's definitely a little better.
Really good.
Another one pin high. And that's what golf's all about, you know. It's not a game of perfect.
No.
Oh. And there's that one that just gets you into a little bit of trouble. I might be chipping that one there. But still pin high.
Nice.
There it is. We finally found one, folks.
There we go. We like that. Let's get one or two more with this one.
One more.
Let's switch over to AMT Silver.
Perfect.
I'll switch this one out for you. Let me change the tag so we can keep things organized.
Awesome. What we're mainly looking for in the differences between these two shafts, even though they're very similar, I think we're looking for the main differences to be in the short irons and the long irons, correct?
Yeah, the middle of the bag, 8, 7, and 6 are going to be very similar with both.
Yep.
The big deal with AMT is heavier in the short, pitching wedge 9, lighter in the 5 and 4.
Awesome.
So on paper, we shouldn't feel a whole lot different here. Both profiles should perform very similar.
Perfect.
And with us testing the same iron head, the numbers should be pretty consistent.
Okay.
Yeah, great golf swing. I mean, we'll absolutely take that. Let's take a look at the data when it pops up.
Yep.
Yeah, very consistent. You know, right in that 6,500 to 7,000, just like DG Mid was.
Yep.
You know, your typical push draw pattern with a great angle of attack into the golf ball. You know, both profiles being pretty darn similar in the 7-iron. This is what we're going to expect. Pretty similar ball flight with both.
Yep. Similar ball flight, very consistent. Both shafts feel great.
There we go. Little push, but we like that.
Overall, pretty happy with all of those ball flights.
Yeah.
They're all landing about the same distance.
Mm-hmm.
The ball flight dispersion is not super crazy.
And that dispersion, especially with the 7-iron right now, spinning it just under 7,000, I mean, that's absolutely perfect.
Absolutely.
That's going to maintain the apex. Distance to pin's great.
Yep.
30 feet on that last one. I mean, that's a tour average 7-iron right there. So let's take a look over at the data.
Perfect.
See where we're at. Compare the two. So if we take a look after some swings here with the DG Mid 115 and the AMT Silver and the 7-iron specifically,
Yep.
ball speed, very similar with both. Launch angle, very similar with both. Backspin, very similar with both. We had one mishit with the AMT Silver that dropped that average down, but if we took that one away, everything would be super consistent. Both flying right around the 170 number, both hitting the peak apex, right at 32, 33 yards in the air. Dispersion was fantastic with both. Descent angle was very similar to being the same. Dispersion was fantastic with both. This data, if we threw it all together and didn't have a name, you would think it's the same shaft being hit, which is kind of the idea with the AMT and the DG Mid.
Yeah, we're trying to find a similar characteristic in the mid irons, mainly just offering that slight differences in the shorter irons and the longer irons for the players who need it.
Exactly. Data is very similar with both, which is something we would expect when we compare the two profiles in the 7-iron.
Yeah.
They both weigh around 115 grams. They're both mid-launch, mid-spin. Similar spin, similar ball speed, similar carry.
Yeah.
How did you feel about both of them?
I think you're spot on. I think the main differences that we're looking for are not necessarily in the mid irons. I think it's more we're looking for differences a little bit in the shorter irons as well as in the longer irons for the players that need it.
Yep.
I would say that they both felt very similar in the mid irons.
Yep. Which is exactly right. So let's jump in. Let's hit some 4-irons and conclude this test and see what it's all about.
Awesome. Let's do it.
There you go. That's a good start. I think hitting the green from 215 is an accomplishment in itself.
I think that's a great start.
Yeah.
I like the consistency. I'm seeing similar carry numbers, similar distances. How's that apex looking?
It's looking right what I'd expect.
Perfect.
Descent angle's fantastic. Love it. Great swing. So now that we've hit some good ones with the mid,
Yep.
we'll switch over to the silver and test kind of the whole point of the AMT. So with that shaft being 115 grams, this one's actually in at 103. So
Okay.
we should see increased apex and ball flight.
Nice.
A little bit lower spin. Let me go ahead and change the tag.
Cool.
We'll hit them up. We'll see what it's all about. So now we got AMT Silver in your hands.
Yep.
A little bit lighter than the 115 mid.
Cool.
Should launch a little bit higher. Might spin a touch less because it is lighter for you.
Okay.
Let's hit some. Let's see how it goes.
Perfect. That was definitely, there we go.
Great swing. Peak apex was definitely higher. Landing a little bit softer.
Absolutely. Yeah, you can tell immediately the difference on that ball landing. It looks like it landed softer,
Absolutely.
which, you know, when I'm hitting into a par 5, trying to hold the green, I want a high launch, and I want that ball to land soft. It's another good one, a little higher apex, just left of the pin.
Got a little fringe boost on that one, but launching higher, spinning still very consistent
Yep.
to the mid. So both profiles coming out with similar spin, but we see due to the lighter profile in the AMT Silver, higher apex, a little more stopping power for someone who needs it.
Yeah.
Now, judging how you hit the mid, you already hit the golf ball pretty high,
Yep.
but it's always good to launch it a little higher, hold a little bit more greens, maybe make an eagle on a par 5.
I agree. Oh. That was a good launch. I left the face open a little bit there.
It's still nice and high, coming down nice and soft.
Yep. I love seeing how soft that lands.
Oh, that's perfect.
That's the best. When you can hit a 4-iron into a green and have it land like a pitching wedge, that's the best.
All right, so if we take a look at the data of the 4-irons Greg just hit for us, AMT Silver definitely launched higher with a peak apex of 35 yards, while DG Mid was 32. Both profiles carried about the exact same. AMT Silver 207, DG Mid 208. We could chalk it up that AMT launched higher. It was a little lighter, apex was higher, but both profiles feel pretty similar, being a mid-launch, mid-spin. Would you agree?
Yeah, I'd agree. They both feel very similar. For the player who needs a little bit higher launch, is looking for a little bit higher apex out of those long irons, I think the AMT Silver is the shaft for you. I think the DG Mid, I mean, we're talking about small margins here, just looking for, you know, from a fitter perspective to help players, you know, who need a little bit more launch. That's what the AMT is going to do. The DG, they both feel very similar, but the AMT just feels a little bit lighter so that you can get the ball up in the air a little quicker.
Yeah, and the numbers will tell us the AMT technology does what it does, but DG Mid holds its own too. DG Mid being a little firmer in the midsection, softer in the tip. We're still going to get a little higher ball flight than something like an old Dynamic Gold Original. For someone that needs the added height, but AMT, with it being the ascending mass technology and being a lot lighter in the long irons, we can kind of hit those long irons higher, stop on more greens, play some better golf. So,
I agree.
thank you so much for stopping by.
Absolutely.
It's great to see you as
Pleasure.
always, and thanks for hitting some shots for us.
Yes, sir. Thanks, guys.